Okay, so in this video we just brought in the connector that plugs into both sockets. And so we are going to learn a little bit of a maybe a little more advanced way to constrain. It's still going to be mates and flushes, but it's going to be with planes that currently aren't existing or in view, and we're going to create them and hide them. And it's really not that bad, so give it a shot. Um, As you can tell, I've already put my car together, and so that looks like it's going to be difficult to squeeze this in. We can't see the geometry, we can't see these sockets, but that's pretty easy. I'm going to repeat or just do the process one time. It's going to be exactly the same if you put it between the truck bed and the passenger section, or the passenger section and the front. And so just for the orientation to have it, I think I'm going to go ahead and push that passenger section off, or the bed, off the passenger section. So over here in the browser, I see truck bed. I'm going to hit a little plus sign to expand, and I can see all the different relationships that have been created between the bed and other things right now. So some of these are between the bed and the passenger section. Some are probably between the bed and the socket that's in there, right? So what I am looking for is this one, I think right here, the one that is mating the bed to the passenger section. And I'm going to right click on it, and I'm going to suppress. So I'm not deleting the relationship, it will still be there, but I'm kind of temporarily turning it off. Notice that in the browser it's grayed out where the other ones have color, so that'll be easy to come back and find which one got suppressed. And because it's suppressed, I can now move this as if that relationship didn't exist. And so if those aren't kissing, while they have to remain flush, the sides and the bottoms like I'd created, I can now pull this apart. So that way I can open it up and see inside. Okay, so likewise, I think, actually no, I think I can do this without. I was going to maybe pull the green socket out of that. I could do it the same way, but I think we're okay. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to go back into the part file for the socket and this. From the assembly, I can just double click on a part. See how the socket is highlighted in red? Let me get rid of that. I'm going to double click, and everything else grayed out except that piece. I see this return, and my ribbon, if I pay attention to it, looks like a ribbon of a part file. That's because I am indeed inside this one block socket part file where I can make a change to it. So what we're going to do is we're going to create midplanes. We're going to choose two would-be parallel planes so that it creates the middle. And we're going to do two of these. I want a vertical plane and a horizontal plane slicing right through the middle of the part. And what I'm going to do is actually use this one block right in the middle. I'm going to use the two sides for the first one. That did it. I have to turn the tool back on, midplane between two planes, and I'm going to use the top and the bottom of that socket, of that block inside the socket. So I selected the top, I'm going to rotate so I can see underneath. Grab that. I get a preview of based on what I'm hovering over what it would be, but that's what I want right there. The bottom of that rectangular block, and there you go, I have these two midplanes. That's all I needed on that. I'm going to hit return, and I go back into the assembly file. Now those are there. Now to hide those later so they're not showing up, I would have to repeat what I just did. I would have to double click on it, go back inside, and then I can not delete because I want to keep these. We're going to use them, but I could right click on them and then uncheck visibility. Right now I want them visible so that I can see them, so that I can select them. Now we're going to repeat the exact same thing with this one. So double click on it. Notice it says return. That's to go from the IPT back to the assembly file. We're currently in the IPT file, so we're working on this connector. I'm going to create midplanes between two planes. Now on this one, I know this piece is kind of tapered. What I have found that it's easier if you use this wider part, okay, not this side of the block that's cut in a little bit. You see this that lip. So I'm going to go with the most overall outside piece here. I'm going to rotate around and pick the opposite side. So right here. That gave me a vertical plane since I picked two vertical sides. Now I'm going to repeat the same thing with the top and bottom. The horizontal, so mid plane between two planes. And again, I'm not going to use this side but this side. So I grab that. We'll get the opposite on the underside. And there you go. I have created planes. And what we're going to do now in the assembly file is we're going to use these planes to create our constraints. So I'm going to constrain, and I'm going to just stick with the mate for right now, and I'm going to get these horizontal planes first. So make sure I'm careful not to, what I'm selecting. I want to see that work plane highlight. So I'm going to mate that horizontal plane to this one. And remember, I want the 2 blocks sticking forward and the 1 block away from me, so just like it is now. So hopefully that stays the way it is. And that looks like it flipped around. We can try the flush, and that might flip it if you just toggle between these two. Okay, so that's what I want. I want the 1 block facing back and the 2 towards me right now. So I'm going to hit apply. And now I'm going to flush. And it's really flush because I want them to stay both facing me as I select these vertical planes. That one and that one. And that centered them up. Apply. I'm going to close this so you can see that basically I've lined it up to where it can only move in and out. I'm going to pull it out enough that I'll be able to see inside. And what I'm going to do at this point is get this block, this face of that 1 block, to mate with the inside. It should stick in until it makes contact. Why don't we go ahead and hide our work planes right now though, before we push this in and cover that one up. So I'm going to double click, go back into the part file, and we're going to do not delete, but turn off visibility. So I'm going to right click on that work plane and uncheck visibility. We'll do the same thing with the vertical one. So they're there, but we don't have to see them right now. Return. I'm going to do the same thing for this one. So we're done with those. Actually, yeah, I don't know. You might have to repeat the process when you come over here. As I hide them, it might hide them over there, but you just kind of want to make sure that they're hidden. And I know we're about to cover that one up when we stick this back on. So I'm just going to go ahead and do it. It's not that bad. So visibility off, visibility off. All right, back in here. So now I am going to, like I said, zoom in here. I want to get that inside face where that 1 block is going to go in. I want to get that to mate with the block that's facing forward. So I'm going to constrain a regular mate. I'm going to get that face. Let's turn it around here so you can see into this connector. You can see that socket there, that 1 block, that face right there. Hit apply and close. And there you go. Now our connector is fully connected. Okay. The last thing we want to do is to get this to go back, and we don't have to create another relationship. We already had that relationship, right? We had suppressed it, so we kind of temporarily turned it off, but it's still there. We just need to go turn it back on. And so this is it was for the bed, the truck bed. So I'm going to come back over here in the browser and I see truck bed, and I'm looking for that grayed out mate. So I'm going to right click on it, see how the suppress is checked. So that means it's kind of temporarily turned off. I want to uncheck it so that it re-engages. Oh, there you go. And there is my Automoblox with the connectors. So you can repeat the same thing so that it's in the front piece as well.